What is up, guys? DT Ninja here because my Rurouni Kenshin 2023 anime first impressions. Okay, guys, I know it's been about a month and a half since the release of the new Kenshin anime, but I am enjoying it a lot. It's something to look forward to every week. The fandom as a whole around the world has been revived. Kenshin is the topic of conversation. A lot of posts all around the world. We're getting a lot of reviews, reactions, everything we could hope for. So that is a great sign for us Kenshin fans. Of course, you guys know I have been doing Kenshin stuff, the Hokkaido arc and such. I'm still doing the Hokkaido arc. I will be still doing reviews and discussions. I'm still doing translations and edits, but it's great to see that the anime is adding more fans or reviving the old fans of the old anime back or the old manga back. So that's a really good sign. I want to give you guys some things that I think that are great about this new anime, some pros. The first thing, it is manga based. What I mean by that, it is focused on the manga. It's going to follow the manga story. Now, when we talk about the manga, obviously we have the colors. Look at the colors. Now we have Kenshin with a red, finally in red. Kenshin in red, finally. You guys remember this one? There's nothing wrong with this one. It's purple. Okay, but it's not the original manga one. That always bothered me. You know, it's a small thing, but it always bothered me. I don't know. That's just me. I am a fan of the classic anime. I love the classic anime, but I am enjoying the new one as well. But yeah, manga-oriented, manga-based. We're going to get a cohesive story. We're going to get a finished story. That is very important to understand. So I wanted to share something from the author himself. So he was asked in an interview with him and his wife about being part of the new anime, supervising the new anime. It says, "This time the anime will be fully supervised by Watsuki Sensei. Did you have an image of what you would want to do?" And so he says, "Well, I must not betray the primitive fans because I want to respect the original characters and the story itself." He says, "I'm a manga artist, so my role is to take care of the manga fans first." I feel like this is a very important point because you're not going to see, or you're going to see, some of the storyline changing because the original anime did not follow the manga, you know, perfectly or to a T. There was always some kind of variation of what they did. Now, of course, I was a huge fan of what they did. You know, that's what we got, and I enjoyed it. But it's interesting to see a different side, a different part of the story, or a different alternate route of what we can watch. So that's a really cool thing. He talks about he didn't want to just redo the character designs from scratch. That's great. So he keeps the original, but he, you know, makes some changes here and there. It's great that they finally have the colors right. You know, like I said, manga based is a big thing. You know, we're going to get a more completed story, cohesive story. This is very important. He says, "I tried to keep in line with the original work. Another key point is that we can animate the original work in its current state of completion. We can produce it afterwards, thoroughly reviewing the original work from beginning to end." So that means we can look forward to the Kyoto arc. We can look forward to the Genshu arc. We can look forward to, in the future, the Hokkaido arc, because we have a completed story. At least up until Genshu, we have a completed story. So he has a different vision for this anime, but he wants to keep the manga story focused, and I like that. That is a big thing. Okay, the next thing. We have some very beautiful animation. beautiful animation. I'm going to share some of the animation. Lots of colors, really vivid animation. Vivid animation. So these are some examples. We have Kenshin Himura. We have Kaoru Kamiya. We have another one of Kenshin. And notice how he has the scarf. That is a manga thing only. And then, of course, we have Sanosuke Sagara. We also have a bigger one here. But you can just see the vivid animation, the beautiful animation. Really beautiful to look at. Right? And of course, we have the sharp action, the sharp and awesome action. So let's take a look at some examples of the action. So, like I said, the action is really cool to watch, right? It's it's a more realistic approach. We get this scene where Kenshin's hitting Sanosuke Zanza at the time. He's flying backwards, so really cool. We get smoke billowing up from the sword when it's used. You get these special effects to it as well. Really cool. The sound of the swords. We always got that, but there was always music kind of drowning it out. But I feel like the music isn't the focus here. I feel like the action is more focused and animation focused, which is a good thing. Now, if you're a huge music person and you like the OST from the original, it might be, a letdown, because it's not going to have Asakura nor Yuki. But at the same time, I feel like they are doing a good job of providing music that does work well with what they're showing. Is it the same as his masterful work? No, it's not Asakura's work. But at the same time, I feel like they're doing a great job. Yeah, so like I said, vivid colors, beautiful animation, sharp action, unique action, really cool, beautiful to look at. I feel like they're giving respect to the characters and the fans. And I mentioned this before, that the author does not want to betray the primitive fans. Now, I have an interview with the original author, and he talks about supervising the new anime. And this has to do with his wife. Here, she talks about the Raijuta arc. So yes, the Raijuta arc is going to be animated, and this is a little clue as to what's happening. So, what parts were changed, and what adjustments did you make during the process for this new anime? Watsuki says, I made some adjustments in certain areas one by one. I still feel the same way about Raijuta's story. So the main plot remains the same, but I made some minor adjustments and rewrote it. So Kurosaki, which is his wife, says, actually, I was in charge of writing the script for the Raijuta arc. But Wacky Sensei, Watsuki, complained about it right after I wrote it, and she laughs. I would just correct it, and he laughs. He gave me a lot of guidance, and she laughs. Especially the battle scenes. And Watsuki says the battle scenes are difficult to do. So we get a little hint at what we're going to get, in the coming weeks with Raijuta. So that's very interesting. We all know Raijuta is dressed up as a samurai at first in the dojo. So I feel like we're going to get that scene. But we're also going to get some of the scenes from the original anime. I feel like we're going to get a little bit of both, because I feel like the anime veered off in a way but the manga version is going to be just a little different, but also a little the same as well. So it should be interesting. Another pro would have to be humor is not lost. Yes, guys. Yes, it's a serious, more serious anime. Some of the characters come across more serious. Kenshin, obviously. Kaoru's not as violent. However, I feel like the classical humor is still there. You know, you got Sanosuke making faces with Kaoru, or, you know, her throwing fish at him after he says her cooking is terrible. You get the Oro scenes with Kenshin. They're keeping the classics still the same. Um, One thing I want to point out is the weekly Oro poll. Every week, or whenever they're posting it on the original Kenshin Twitter website, they have a poll. You watch the new anime and guess or listen for how many times Kenshin says Oro, and you vote, and they'll tell you the results in a couple days or the next week. And I thought that was pretty cool. So it's just another cool way to watch Kenshin. Another way fans are watching is watching the original anime, and then they're looking at the new one. Okay, so they're kind of doing it and comparing the two to each other. So that's another thing to do. I'm not a huge fan of that myself, but I know a lot of people are doing that. So if you want to do that, that's great. Another thing, impressions campaign. This is another thing that on the official Kenshin website, they are allowing you to tweet your impressions, just like I'm doing here. And on the official website, you click on the picture from each episode, give your impression, and you can download digital content. So that's pretty cool. I've done it, and I've give you some examples here. Let's get to some special points from the new anime. First one, foreshadowing of new characters. Yes, we're talking about introducing characters that have not been introduced yet, or, you know, introducing new characters for the future. So the first episode, we get a scene in the very beginning where we have Batosai just slicing everyone up, and we see Okita and Saito in the Bakamatsu at looks like Tobu Fushimi, and then we get a kind of confrontation between Saito and Kenshin. Really awesome way to introduce the series in a whole, but it also gives a fascinating look into, you know, Saito. The Shinsengumi, like, that's really awesome. We want to see that, and that's where we're going to go in a future part of the story, where we get Kenshin and Saito facing off in one of the greatest fights in all of Kenshin at the dojo. Another really cool thing they did is in the first episode, they show the truth about swordsmanship. Obviously, Kenshin says, you know, the truth, the art of swordsmanship is learning how to kill. And that is the truth. Kaoru's words are nothing more than naive, sweet words. And then at that moment in his mind, he sees two people. He sees the death of someone he killed, a samurai named Akira, and it's the one who gave him one of the scars. The other one is his ex-wife shielding him. Really brief images, but the fact that they showed that just shows that that is just a clever and subtle way to show what's happening and what's to come. Foreshadowing. Really good stuff. I really am looking forward to more like that. Okay. Post-credit scenes. This is another thing. The original anime did not have these. Post-credit scenes are the scenes that are previewing either new characters or what's to come. For example, in episode 3, we get the scene with Sanosuke with his Zanbato. After the fight with Sanosuke, we get the first introduction to Janae. That is a really cool thing to add as well. Surprising elements. These are things that you can only do that with a completed story. This is a way to give layers and compel viewers to give more development to characters in an interesting way. For example, episode 4. Sanosuke introduces himself and learns that Kenshin is Batosai. Sanosuke hears Kenshin say, "You must have a really twisted mind to wear, the words for bad on your back." And so he says, or he doesn't even say, he smirks, right? And before he smirks, he sees something in the back of his mind. He sees Captain Sagara walking in the distance. That is a really cool thing. Episode 5, another thing, when the Seki Hote are introduced, there is another character that's introduced. It is Sunan Tsukioka, but he's a young man, he's a young boy with Sanosuke. They're kind of friends, right, in the Seki Hotai. Well, we get his perspective rather than Sanosuke's perspective, which is very interesting. Is again almost foreshadowing of his character. So again, it goes back to foreshadowing, but it's also a surprising element because it's never been seen in the original anime or the manga. So that is a cool thing they added. And they're doing that with a lot of the new anime. So I'm looking forward to more scenes like this. Okay, historical accuracy. In episode 2 and episode 1 as well, we get to see the Metropolitan Police Force in Tokyo, the Tokyo Metro Police, and their uniform is very accurate. Yellow stripes, even their hats have the Meiji emblem. It's very historical, it's accurate, which is very cool. I like how they did that. It's very unique, but it just adds to, kind of the period of the Meiji. So that's pretty cool. Okay, the next thing, the lively city atmosphere. So I'm gonna give you guys a little quote from Kenshin. He says, "Tokyo is a rowdy place, that it is," and he means it's lively. And while it's there, you see all these people running around. They're actively doing something. You see them selling fish, have baskets. You have something carrying on their back. You see someone eating. You see someone talking. You just have a lot of things going on at once. You feel like it's an actual era that you would want to live in. That is a pretty cool thing, and I feel like the author who's supervising this is making sure that this is the case. The next thing I want to talk about is narration of important terms. We're talking about the explanation of the techniques of the characters, the groups, the important groups, and also terminology. Of course, the characters can talk and tell about what is going on, what is happening, who these guys are, but it's really nice that we got narration. So, for example, in episode 2, with the police swordsman, obviously Yamagata is looking for Batosai, right? He's looking for Kenshin. And then he talks about the Ishin Shishi, and then we get the narrator talking about who they were, what they did, the imperialists, obviously. But now we got more than just one character talking about them. We got a narration of it. Now, we also have techniques or weapons. The Zanbato was also explained what it is, how it's used. I like that. But it just adds to the scene, I feel, like I said. But yeah, that's my take on it. I feel like that is something they added that is effective. Okay, next thing, manga style expressions. We're talking about the thick manga expressive lines. These are lines only shown in the manga. We're talking about the thick lines when it shows emotion, it shows direction of a scene, it shows action. Okay, guys, the last thing, family origins. Well, in the first episode, we get introduced to Kaoru's father, who died fighting in the Seinan War. He never came back, so Kaoru assumed he's already dead. But as an avid reader of Kenshin, we all know, if you've read Hokkaido, that Kaoru's father is alive. So what they did, the author used the design for Kaoru's father in Hokkaido, and he showed it in the new anime. I thought that was really cool. Not only that, he gives us a little background information, how he was part of the swordsman squad for the Imperialists. So that is pretty cool to talk about, and how it introduced the character as well. I think it's episode 3. Yaiko's father is talked about. His family is being insulted, and Yaiko stands up for them. And we see in the back of his mind the samurai walking away, which is Yaiko's father. So we get Kaoru's father, we get Yaiko's father. Those unique add-ons, kind of the surprising elements they added. So it kind of goes with the surprising elements, these family origins. So really the surprising element would be part of the family origins. So really it's one thing. But anyways, the family origins, pretty cool. So overall, I've liked the new anime. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to watch episode 7, Janae, death match under the moonlight. I heard really great things, so I can't wait to watch that. Good things, and yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Look forward to my next Hokkaido arc review. That will be next week. We'll see you guys in the next one.